weekend is bringing 3 nights of stand-up mayhem to Ten Creek Holiday Park from the 13th. Okay. Now, a sneak peek of some cool things happening this weekend.
I'm Georgia Lowe.
I'm Tom Luckett.
I'm Maddie Peplow.
I'm Georgia Lote.
I'm Maddie Peplow.
I'm Tom Luckett.
I'm Georgia Lote.
This is The Mouth.
The Mouth on Source FM.
I'm Georgia Lote.
Do you want us to keep going? Hi, Andy.
Okay, we are behaving.
Hey. You're listening to The Mouth.
Every Friday on Source FM. You're listening to The Mouth.
This is The Mouth, your go-to radio show for all things Falmouth and beyond. I'm Maddie Peplow.
I'm Tom Luckett.
And I'm Georgia Lote. Our headlines today.
A fire destroys a well-known Falmouth pub. Police say it's suspicious.
They're devastated, but frankly, they're not surprised. I think this has been a tragedy that's just been waiting to happen for some time.
Ancient Cornish forests and local bats at risk, says Wildlife Trust as a new bill goes through Parliament.
There's no evidence that nature and protected species are holding up planning applications and stopping the delivery of housing.
Cornish athletes representing Great Britain in New Zealand for Surf Life Saving Championships.
We're great friends and really want the best from each other.
You're listening to The Mouth. And of course, we'll also be bringing you the all-important weather, surf and what's on updates. But first, the news.
Earlier this week, one of Falmouth's most well-known pubs was completely destroyed in a large blaze. Fire from across the county spent all night fighting the fire. Police say they suspect arson, Tom Luckett reports.
On Tuesday, the community of Boslowick in Falmouth was shocked at the news of a fire that broke out in one of their area's most beloved pubs. The Boslowick Inn was engulfed in flames in a fire that lasted many hours into the night. Firefighters from all over the county came to tackle the blaze. Firefighter Ian Laurie was part of the crew.
Initially, there was 2 trucks from Falmouth. So we had a total of, initially to get there first was 11 people in attendance to start with, and then our next pumps after that were probably about 15 minutes after that. So it's quite a busy time, that first 15 minutes. There's a lot of fires. You'll find that your first 15 minutes is busy, because you've got very limited crew. We're trying to deal with the fire, establish water supplies, keeping members of the public away.
The Boslowick Inn was originally a manor house built in 1754. It was then turned into a pub which ran for many years as a major community centre. It shut down 4 years ago and had a planning permission to be turned into housing units. Councillor Dean Evans says the community is at a loss.
It was the last pub outside the town centre. You know, that we haven't got any pubs now in Boslowick. The last one that went is now the Co-op store, and the Bossie just held on there. It was a locals pub. You know, it had been the same. It was a beautiful building inside. Needed some attention to it. It needed investment that sadly wasn't there, and so closed. But it is a shock to see that it's finally gone.
The building has now lost its roof. The structure caved in with the fire, and the site is a blackened shell of its former self.
I think if you probably look county-wide, or probably even nationwide, they do get a lot of derelict buildings, unfortunately, attract attention of people going in there to maybe try and just mess around sometimes. Maybe kids going in there to make a camp, have a bit of fun. You get other people in there, maybe going in there type of year when it's getting cold to maybe go and sleep rough, unfortunately, because they are homeless people sometimes, and it's difficult. So unfortunately, a lot of these buildings do end up generally like that. They just get sort of vandalised, and then people break in and they're not secured properly by the companies, and then it becomes a risk for us. So it was a high risk building for us on our patch because historically it's just been broken into and people have been in there, so it's a risk for us.
For locals, the loss of this building has made a large impact. Tom Luckett reports.
It's the situation that we're in. It's the proposal that was put forward to the authorities to consider. It would be nice if there were more facilities in the area. As I say, we haven't got a pub now in Boslowick. You've got to go down into town if you want to drink. And of course, there's no No buses in the evening, no buses on a Sunday. So it's a question of either driving or walking down there or getting a taxi. So it would have been nice to have a pub in the vicinity. I know a lot of people use the Bozzy. It was very well liked, but now it's gone.
Habitats of protected species like bats and owls here in Cornwall could be at risk with a new parliamentary bill, according to wildlife experts. Katie Windsor reports.
Cornwall's wildlife is on the line. Following its third reading in Parliament on Monday, the Planning and Infrastructure Bill has caused uncertainty over the future of some of the UK's most vulnerable species and green spaces. Many fear that if the bill passed in its current state, vital species that allow Cornwall's rich biodiversity to thrive, including species like bats, barn owls and hedgehogs, are seemingly at risk at these new planning laws. Natasha Colin Costello, whose role it is to make sure developers create sustainable, wildlife-friendly projects, is one of the many people who believe this current bill doesn't truly support potentially vulnerable wildlife.
So I work for Cornwall Environmental Consultants, and we're the consulting arm of Cornwall Wildlife Trust. The part of the bill that we find very concerning as environmental professionals is Part 3, and that's because it allows what's called Environment Delivery Plans.
An EDP, or Environmental Delivery Plan, have been introduced in this bill as a new way to manage the environmental impact of developments.
The problem with Part 3 is that they have lumped in protected species impact into environment delivery plans. That means if a developer, say, has a group of old barns and they want to convert the barns into, say, 6 houses and put 6 new houses in the grounds, which is kind of normal scale of development for Cornwall, they wouldn't have to consider protected species at all. All they would have to do is put some money into the environment delivery plan. That means that species like bats, which might be living in those barns, or barn owls, which might be living there, they wouldn't have any specific mitigation put in place.
The implications of Part 3 are causing uproar in the wildlife community, with charities like Cornwall Wildlife Trust asking the public to support the dismissal of the bill.
You might go out and say, oh, there's a maternity roost there of, say, Leicester horseshoes, which are a much rarer type of bat. And obviously, if you lost a maternity roost where they're breeding, you could have a really severe impact on the protected species. Because let's not forget, a lot of them are facing extinction. 1 in 6 British mammals is facing extinction, so it's quite serious.
Despite these fears, in the third reading, Housing, Communities and Local Government Minister Baroness Taylor of Stevenage spoke positively on the bill, sharing in the House of Lords on Monday that she felt that the bill's proposed Nature Restoration Fund is designed to deliver for both the environment and the people of the UK. When asked if she feels that at this stage the bill could be adapted to balance the economy and wildlife to more of a 50-50 split, Natasha quickly disagreed.
There's no evidence that nature and protected species are holding up planning applications and stopping the delivery of housing, which is what the government is saying. And we've also got the fact that developers themselves say it's not nature that's holding them up. What's holding them up is high land prices and slow determination by local planning authorities.
Despite this bill being in the latest stages of discussions, it's never too late to share your input.
Ask everybody to write to their MP. You literally can just go to the Wildlife Trust's Planning and Infrastructure Bill website and you just fill in a form, and it's really important that everybody does that if they care about this and that they do it this week.
The Great British Surf Life Saving Team is preparing to take on the world at the International Surf Rescue Challenge in New Zealand, and 2/3 of the squad are from right here in Cornwall. Our reporter Madison James went to find out more.
Surf Life Saving GB is the national charity helping to keep Britain's beaches safe. Last year, they assisted 3,525 people, including 13 lives saved and 98 rescues. We spoke to trustee Ashley Mann, an active member, coach and GB High Performance Team Manager.
Throughout the country, it's about 10,000 plus members through a multitude of clubs, and we've got a number of those down here in Cornwall. Beyond that, there's the sports side, local competitions known as carnivals, and then we have the international competitions. We attend from Great Britain as a team for the Worlds, the Europeans, and other international competitions such as the International Surf Rescue Challenge.
This competition will test strength, speed and rescue ability.
Been held in Mount Maunganui in New Zealand. It's a team-based competition conducted over 3 tests, including events such as swim, board, ski, beach events, all replicating those of a lifeguard. Competitors from all around the world, teams from New Zealand, Australia, South Africa and beyond, and including ourselves, Great Britain.
And Cornwall is making waves on the international stage with a huge local presence in this year's squad.
Made up of 6 male and 6 female competitors from all around the country, but 8 of those we're really lucky, based down here at our Cornish clubs. And the special ones in here, I think we've got to mention brothers Piran Phillips, Hayden Phillips. They'll be under the management of Dad Rob Phillips, who's the team manager, an ex-GB athlete himself. So quite a unique, special moment to have so many Cornish individuals, but to have a family.
We caught up with Piran to find out what it's like playing alongside his family.
To have my dad as the coach this year is pretty special. He's always been my coach. He still remains dad around the dinner table. We've got a pretty awesome relationship. Having my brother this year makes it even more special. Get to do it as a family. It's what we've always dreamed of, doing it together. In terms of rivalry, we always want to beat each other. We're competitive brothers. We want to go against each other, but we always hug it out at the end.
And brother Hayden shared his views.
It feels great to be selected to represent GB at the International Surf Rescue Challenge. It's my first time representing GB in the sport, and to be able to race alongside my brother in New Zealand is real special. The team this year, I think it's going to be real strong. They've got some very experienced athletes who are going to build some great team spirit.
The International Surf Rescue Challenge kicks off in New Zealand on November 26th, where Team GB and its Cornish heart will take on the best in the world.
You're listening to The Mouth.
Stay tuned to The Mouth. Coming up, we have some more stories for you.
Gaming is go. Falmouth University are to compete in esports championships with hopes to bring home a trophy.
We have some high-ranking, well-fleshed-out teams here that I think are going to perform really well this year.
Is AI replacing the pen and brush? We have a special report.
I don't think anybody has been able to accurately predict how AI will change over time.
Cornish folk music is the most popular it's been since the 1600s. We speak to the artists who are part of the revival.
It's nice when you can just walk into a room and you all know the same tunes. You've immediately got this connection through music.
You're listening to The Mouth.
Falmouth University boasts that it's a hotbed for computer gaming, and now students are taking part in national championships for esports. Our reporter Talia Turner reports.
Falmouth University to compete in NSC championships with high hopes to bring a trophy home.
NSE is the National Student Esports, so it's the main competition that universities compete in when it comes to esports titles.
Esports is the word to describe competitive video gaming. Esports is being introduced to more unis each year, with Falmouth's esports course only existing for 3 years. NSE, who are partnered with big brands such as Pot Noodle and Monster Energy, is the home of British University esports. Running 14 tournaments every spring and winter across 10 games, NSE is a great stepping stone for students wishing to take esports further. Falmouth University has 10 teams across 6 games. I spoke to Chris, a manager and player for the Esports Society at Falmouth University, to get more information about NSE and what it means for the competing students.
So NSE hold the British University Esports Championships, which is currently what the Esports Society is competing in. We have 10 teams across, I think, 6 games, with 4 teams going for like that top title. They're going for the win. It is such a great opportunity for all of us competing, just because it means that we have the experience of competitive gaming, which can lead to being recruited for professional roles after university.
What happens if a team does win? What does that mean for you and the university?
So if they make it to the top few teams, they get invited to an in-person tournament and they get to compete on the live stage, and then they will win a cash prize.
And how much is the cash prize?
I believe it is £500 for first place.
I also spoke to Dan, another member of the Esports Society.
You know, when you play an online game that takes teamwork and specificities in that kind of case, you get all the randomness of what teammates you're going to get, and you get to work on chemistry, strategy with people you play on a consistent basis. And I think that's one of the cooler things of esports, is coming together and be able to make something together out of a team. I think the biggest thing is you all kind of start from the same place, but you grow together, you get better together, you come out as a team better together. And I think that's one of the better things. Motivation, all those kind of things, all those kind of dynamics, they all work well with one another in a team. It increases the fun of it, in my opinion.
Will Falmouth win the NSC Championships this year? Keep updated on the NSE website to find out if our team is going to bring it home.
There's widespread concern that AI may soon replace many creative industries like advertising, graphics and art. Our Molly Sexton explores this controversial and important subject.
AI has recently become a topic that's hot on people's minds. Dr. Jack Furby has recently completed his PhD studying human and AI interactions, and he expects the survival of the creative industries like graphics and advertising.
Not everybody wants to use AI content, so if not already, I could definitely see a market being made available where AI is not used at all. The market is definitely going to be a lot smaller, but it is definitely still an avenue that will exist to people who choose to make that their profession.
Aspiring artist Alicia is more sceptical of the rapidly advancing technology.
Despite it being really accessible now, since it's all free and everything, I think it's crazy how people can literally just type in any quick prompt and they can have a great piece of art created in literally seconds. It discredits the amount of time and effort real artists put into their work when AI can literally create it in a fraction of their time.
Alicia has chosen to avoid using AI entirely. She feels it's not necessary for how she works.
I've never really been interested in anything that AI has to offer, so I've never really thought about using it. I mean, I still haven't used AI to this day since it's not something really is necessary in my days. I have plenty of accessible alternatives to use, so why would I use something that could take away jobs from people in the future?
Jack feels that AI can be used in the less creative aspects of the art and design world.
So if you are working in the creative industry, you don't only have the creative tasks, you have other tasks on the side, whether that's admin, taking minutes for meetings. All of these tasks, AI could be employed to do, and that may actually allow individuals to apply much more time to doing them creative tasks rather than the admin behind the scenes.
Both Jack and Alicia agree that the future of AI and how we use it is difficult to predict.
I think, it's hard to tell really what's good and what's bad about AI now, because it's so there's so many things that are undiscovered with it. You don't know how it's going to benefit us in the future. But I think that it's just hard to lean one way or the other completely when there's ups and downs for it, really.
Jack sees a multitude of possibilities in our future relationship with AI, spanning from a growth in our dependence on it all the way to an almost complete step away from it.
I don't think anybody has been able to accurately predict how AI will change over time. With the current forms of AI, so these large language models, I would imagine there's a few different possibilities.
With so much hanging in the unknown, research continues on how AI can be used and developed responsibly. If you want to share your opinions on this topic, contact The Mouth through our social media or by email on themouthfalmouth@gmail.com.
Here in Cornwall, some of the most ancient traditions from across the country can be found. Things like Flora Day for the coming of spring and Montal to celebrate the middle of winter. Music has always been a big part of these traditions, and now that music is enjoying a huge revival. Damien Miller reports.
Hi, my name is Jeremy Kennedy. I've been involved for just under a year now. I met a bunch of people at the Penmore winter event in Falmouth, and they invited me to join their group. I'm not Cornish myself, but that didn't really seem to matter. Everyone was still really happy to have me there and just sit and learn. It was just really nice, really incredible.
How would you describe your experience in being part of a folk music group?
Well, at some of the other folk sessions that I go to, which aren't distinctly Cornish, but they do play some Cornish tunes, there's a mix of Irish and all sorts. You sort of just show up and everyone's always really inviting because you've got this common interest. And they always want more people at these sessions as well. It's a whole community really. I think it's just quite beautiful for people to be connected like that. I play a lot of music in my free time, but folk music is sort of the only genre that I play with other people. It connects you to people really. It's nice when you can just walk into a room and you all know the same tunes. You might not have spoken to each other ever, but you've immediately got this connection through music.
Folk music, and especially Cornish folk music, has a reputation for bringing people together, especially here in Cornwall. Do you know of any upcoming events or locations where people could go to hear more from this genre themselves?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, they have the Shanty Festival in Barnet as well. And that's not sea shanties, that's not folk music as in playing the instruments, but it's still old music that brings people together. I think Cornwall's got quite a good community for that. On the summer and winter solstice, there is Penmore in Falmouth, and at the Countryman, which is just outside of Redroof, every Monday they do a session there, and they play only Cornish folk music. There's also Montol in Penzance at winter as well, and they play the Montol tune there.
You're listening to The Now.
Today I have Will Keating in the studio to talk about Cornish folk music. Hi Will.
Hello Maddie, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. For the first question I have, what drew you to folk music?
What drew me to folk music? That's a good question. I think that my first experience of folk music was being in a rugby club. I grew up playing rugby as a child, and men used to sing together after the game. And I think I enjoyed listening to it, and I enjoyed joining in as I got older. So I think that would be my first introduction to folk music.
Oh yeah. Second question is, have you seen a rise in popularity?
Yes, definitely. I've seen a rise in popularity across all ages, actually. Folk music tended to be sort of liked by the older generation, but the younger generation are sort of warming towards it. Country music, which is obviously a type of folk music, is very popular also. I think people like hearing and folk music is basically telling stories.
That's good, thank you. And last question, any advice for people starting out in folk music?
Yes, there's lots of sessions going on around Cornwall. There's also, if you're between the ages of 16 and 24, there's a Cornwall Folk Ensemble, which meet up and they go. And it's a great learning experience for all. And performing, I would say, go to one of those Cornwall Young Folk Ensemble, or look for a section on Facebook or something like that.
Okay, well, thank you for calling in today. Very much appreciated.
No problem. Thanks, Maddie. Have a lovely weekend.
Thank you. You too.
You're listening to The
Bye.
Now.
And now for the weather. As we head into the afternoon, it's a mostly cloudy one with temperatures sitting around the mid-teens, and you can expect the odd patch of rain popping back in through the early afternoon before things start to dry up. By early evening, the skies ease off nicely, turning partly cloudy and cooler, around 12 to 13 degrees, so it's a dampish start, but shaping up into a much clearer, fresher evening by the coast.
And now the surf report. Currently, things are looking a little moody for the waves. The wind's picking up and the sea's cooling down to about 13 degrees, so you'll want a good wetsuit if you're heading out. Waves are expected at around 4 to 5 foot. The bigger breakouts on the open coast will have more energy, but on the more sheltered beaches you'll be looking at smaller, less consistent sets. If you're just out for a chillboard session, you've got options. Just plan for a changeable weather.
A sneak peek of some of the cool things happening this weekend. Ten Creek Comedy Weekend is bringing 3 nights of stand-up mayhem to Ten Creek Holiday Park from the 13th to the 16th of November. There's also the Cornish Winter Fair all weekend at Royal Cornwall Event Centre in Wadebridge. And on Saturday from 10 to 12 p.m. at Falmouth Library, there's a Lego Club for the little ones.
This has been The Mouth, your go-to radio show for all things Falmouth and beyond. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook and check out our website.
You're listening to The Now.
Every Friday on Source FM. You're listening to The Mouth.